just want to know how many have actually had one is the boat, second is actually what do you think about oceans? And because as you said, 70% of the earth is actually oceans. And he was mentioning about the biodiversity of the wildlife. Oceans are the maximum marine biodiversity in the world.
क्रिएटिव्ह फाउंडेशन नेचर वॉक ट्रस्ट यांनी आयोजित केलेल्या कट्टा या कार्यक्रमात आज डॉक्टर M.R. रमेश कुमार यांनी ओशनग्राफीबद्दल अतिशय छान माहिती सांगितली. त्याचा हा भाग आपल्यासाठी.
This is actually what we call one frame philatelic exhibition on oceans. So basically whenever we think of oceans, we think of actually explorers. So actually we can see this is actually Christopher Columbus. We have actually Vasco da Gama. We have n number of people. Okay, and also this time actually some of the India had actually a huge maritime heritage. Whether it's from Orissa or from Kerala or even you might have seen the Ponniyin Selvan movie. They had actually gone. So there are so many stamps on that maritime heritage. And whenever think oceans have actually two important things. One is actually the living resources and non-living resources. Non-living our Ajit Vartakji will can tell because especially from the geology point of view, this one living resources are mostly fish. There are different types of fish people go or whatever. So you can see sharks, whales. So I have put actually mostly that. And India had one of the oldest dockyards. I'll come to that a little bit later. I will keep on asking questions, spot quiz. And if you give me a correct answer, usually I give 5 star. I mean, 5 star nahi laya. I should say Ajit Vartakji. It's actually Ustad on that. Basically, collecting stamps. In good old days, we used to have pen friends. आजकल कुछ नहीं है. Now everybody is into WhatsApp, Facebook.
So first of all, welcome. We have a very interesting personality from Goa. His name is Dr. M.R. Ramesh Kumar. Sir, welcome on this forum. And त्याचं करतो इंट्रोडक्शन इतकं मोठं आहे पण मी so just two three important points. So basically chief scientist oceanography, National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. Normally whatever topics we had earlier, those were all related to wildlife. So this is something which is very interesting. People are very curious. I got a lot of calls. क्या होने वाला है, कौन बोलने वाला है? This is something very interesting. So everybody is eager to listen to you. Basically, life member, Indian Geophysical Union, Indian Society of Remote Sensing, Ocean Society of India, editorial board member, International Journal for Disaster Advances, editorial board member, Indian Journal of Geomarine Sciences. Recipient of lot of awards, उनमें से कुछ डॉक्टर N.K. पंडिकर मेमोरियल अवॉर्ड, विक्रम साराभाई अवॉर्ड, खूप लोकांना शिकवलेलं आहे. आणि दिस इज समथिंग की जे टॉपिक तसा किचकट आहे पण जर का असा वक्ता असेल तर तो ऐकायला पण खूप मजा येते. मोर देन आय थिंक 65 रिसर्च पेपर्स टिल डेट हॅव बीन पब्लिश्ड. आणि सो ऍक्च्युली ऑल्सो थँक्स टू डॉक्टर अजित वर्तक. अजित काका आपल्या पुण्यातला अत्यंत रिनाउंड जिओलॉजिस्ट आहे. सो त्यांनी सांगितलं की असे असे गेस्ट आहेत तर आपण आपल्या पुणेकरांसाठी बेसिकली इथे प्रोग्राम करू. सो थँक्यू टू यू ऑल्सो अँड ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ अस आय विल रिक्वेस्ट डी कुलकर्णी सर टू प्लीज felicitate sir by giving him a small book. So sir, this is a book on wildlife which talks about wildlife in and around Pune district.
That's very good. Thank you, sir.
आणि तसंच we have डॉक्टर वर्तक. तर आपण आपल्या कट्ट्याचं आतापर्यंत जे जे वाईल्डलाईफ रिलेटेड गोष्टी केल्या त्याची पुस्तिका आहे तर ती पण आपण अजित वर्तकांना भेट देऊ. Thank you so much. I won't kill I pass on.
So let me tell you first straight away. How many of you would like to have actually? I don't know. How many of you actually travel by a ship or a boat in a time? Little bit. 1 hour, 2 hours. For us, as Vartakji has actually put this one geology. For us, ocean is the laboratory. Whether you like it or not. Okay. We have to go to the oceans, and as I correctly mentioned, I'm a physical oceanographer. Basically, I'm a meteorologist. I was supposed to join IITM, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, which is in Pashan. And I had a fantastic professor called Professor Ananda Krishnan. Okay, so he was a student of Sir C.V. Ram. So after my masters, I had actually opportunity to go to 3 places. One was actually Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to work on a project called Mountain Waves. Second was actually here at IITM on Air India Fellowship. And the third was actually NIO. I was always fascinated by oceans because I was coming from a very small village. So I read a book called Moby Dick. I don't know how many have actually read a book called Moby Dick. It's actually written by Herman Melville, where a whale wants to take care of its own captain. So I knew that if you pay money, you can always fly from this one. But actually, there are ships going actually from Kochi to Lakshadweep. Kochi to Lakshadweep they were going. Chennai to Port Blair. But I was not knowing such things, etc. Or I didn't know. So basically, it is that. So I said that I should join NIO. Another thing that's important about oceanography is actually you should be seaworthy. Seaworthy does not come off this one. You have to travel and you have to go. Ship will have all 6 degrees of motion, not the turbulence what we have actually in the air. It is much more worse. Plus, in addition, also another problem. I'm a vegetarian. So most of the people said, why don't you stay in Pune? I'm not fit person actually to go to Goa. I neither drink nor eat non-veg. Why are you going? I said I want to go to the oceans. So there are so many things which pulled back, but I always consider Pune as the ultimate. So one of my colleagues, now he's no more, so he used to tell, Pune I remember for 3 things. One is actually Osho. Second is actually the Film Institute. Third is fashion, they say. So I don't know now. so these are not, but I always used to think that Shimla Homes and Pashan and this, all my gurus are here, mentors and this one. So I'll keep on asking questions. And if you answer, I have lots of prizes starting from biodiversity of Goa. And one of my most person is actually Mario Miranda. It's actually a special cover on that. And I have so many things. And I have also pictures which are taken 39 years back from Antarctica. Not now, 39 back. The scenery was totally different. You have to take a photographic film, photographic camera, load it. The camera is taken mellow. You cannot come back again to Goa to process it. So, and the government of India won't send me. So, I just want to know how many have actually had one is the boat, second is actually, what do you think about oceans? And because, as you said, 70% of the earth is actually oceans. And he was mentioning about the biodiversity of the wildlife. Oceans are the maximum marine biodiversity in the world. Whether it can be in the form of fish, this, sharks. In fact, I never knew that whales and dolphins are actually mammals. I never knew. Even though I had it. So there are n number of things which are actually related to ocean or related with oceans. So I will ask a first question. Can anyone of you tell? Patak sir, please don't answer. You are excluded or disqualified, I should say. Others can try. Because can anyone of you tell me Indian Oceanographer's name or Indian Oceanographic Institutes? Fast. All are rapid fire. Only you get 5 seconds. You cannot Google or whatever. Anybody wants to try? Price are there. What? Somebody want to try? Okay, forget that. Yeah. Tell me the name. Basawa hai. Okay, does not matter. We had actually one of the oldest, let me say, dockyard in the world. I can give a clue. It's in Gujarat. Oldest dockyard. Not now, not the present scenario. I'm talking about old. It belongs to the Indus Valley civilization. Gujarat. Now, Dwarka was also discovered by one of our, I will come to that a little bit later. Professor S.R. Rao, who was actually an archaeologist, he came to NIO, he became a marine archaeologist, he did actually Dwarka and Bed Dwarka. We'll come there a little bit. The same gentleman only discovered this oldest dockyard. That also will tell you. Right, so you have enough things. Anyway, I'm not going to give you the answers.
We will Google it.
You can Google and find and read. So that we had actually one of the 4,500 years old dockyard was there in those days during Indus Valley. So oceanography, and also we have actually some maritime heritage, whether it's actually from Orissa or actually Tamil Nadu or from Kerala. Tamil Nadu, they have actually the Ponniyin Selvan movie if you watched. And this Orissa also you can see a lot of ships going actually in the Southeast Asian countries, Kerala also. And most of the African people from Africa, they used to come to India, maybe Gujarat or whatever, thanks to the winds. That's another topic of mine called monsoons. So ships used to come when the winds were favoring them. From the Anyway, This year's theme is actually World Environment Day theme is actually beat the plastics. Beat the plastics actually the plastic pollution. Take this. Everybody thinks that actually that is actually ocean is actually the biggest garbage dump, which is not a good idea now. All the untreated water actually from the five-star hotel, especially in Goa, untreated sewerage water from Goa goes over there. Because we have n number of things happening, not only in Goa, almost all. So oceans, one is actually garbage bins, plastics which actually go, and we have another thing what we call microplastics. Microplastics, the fishes eat them, almost everything it has. Okay, and not only that, most of the chemicals, lead, all these things also go to the fish. If you are a fish eater, mellow means you are gone taste like. So maybe I'll start with that the microplastic things in the ocean. Yeah, that one.
Should I switch on the light?
Yes. Okay.
The picture will be
Monterey in particular is a beautiful place. It's hard to look out across this ocean and to say, there's a problem of ocean plastic pollution out there. It's exactly what we found when we looked below the surface. Never challenged the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean, which is why we partnered with the Monterey Bay Research Institute.
Environment uses robots and other tools to explore and understand our ocean, including this one, the ROV Dock Ricketts. Going on a dive is really like visiting another planet. We're using these robots to go down into a habitat that's truly inaccessible by humans. When you travel through the deep sea, the ocean looks like a starfield. All of these particles are actually dead animals and plants that are raining down to the depths of the ocean. This marine snow is what feeds a lot of deep sea creatures. And in some of these particles, we can find microplastics. Microplastics are some of the smallest pieces of plastic found in the ocean. These microplastics can be as small as the length of a human hand. We measured microplastics throughout the water column, starting from the sea surface and going down to 1,000 meters using our robotic vehicles. We found microplastics at every depth we sampled in Monterey Bay. The most common type of microplastic we found in the deep sea was PET.
PET is a very common plastic polymer that is used in a wide variety of single-use plastic products. Plastic has become this very convenient and durable item for so many products that we depend on. The sheer volume of single-use plastics that's produced means not all of it can make its way into recycling, so wind and rivers carry plastic downstream into the ocean, where large materials are broken down into smaller and smaller materials, eventually become microplastic.
What was most surprising about our results is that we found the most microplastics 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. It shows that the extent of plastic pollution reaches down into the deep sea. Microplastics are not just an ocean surface problem. I didn't expect to see so many plastics at depth. When you think of the source of plastics, which is us, you expect to see a lot more near the surface. Animals in the deep sea feed on particles in the ocean that are same size as microplastic particles. We use laser-based imaging tools to understand how animals in the deep sea are ingesting food and microplastics that might be in the water column. These animals can then be eaten by other animals that either may live at the sea surface or on the seafloor. So you have a spectrum, let's say, of different kinds of animals that can be impacted by plastics. This research really shows that animals are ingesting microplastics and it's becoming part of the food webs. And it's hard to know if those plastics will ever leave those food webs.
How do you get people to recognize that there's big problems in the ocean right there? It's hard because it's so beautiful and everything looks great. 500 pounds of plastic makes its way into the ocean every second. But the great thing about this problem is that we can't solve it. Recycling alone is not the answer. We have to tackle the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean at its source. And that means using less single-use plastic in our everyday lives. Asking businesses to provide us better solutions and recognizing those places for the changes that they do make.
Whenever we think of oceans, oceans absorb 93% of the sun's radiation. I don't know if you remember actually the cyclones and monsoons are basically driven by the oceans. Okay, so 93% of oceans, this one comes actually from the sun or it traps in the ocean. And every year, people are quite curious. When does the monsoon onset takes place? When does it? Because 90% of our mean annual rainfall comes during the 4 months of June, July, August, September. Okay, and it is important for drinking water, hydroelectric power, and agriculture. So one important thing which people are worried is actually this year, for example, we had actually an early onset on 24th of May, and it hit actually on 25th of actually in Goa and 26th is the southern parts of Maharashtra, but didn't progress further till later. And people say that oceans play a very important role. Okay, so how many of you have heard about El Nino or La Nina? Okay, what do you mean by El Nino?
El Nino, it's a warm water currents when Pacific Ocean and I forgot another one. It affects and La Nino is cooling down of the temperature of the.
That is the answer I was looking for. So
Yeah.
excellent answer. Lot of photographs taken 39 years back. I will give a photograph which I had. I am feeding a penguin. Not now. Taken 39 years back.
Antarctica.
In Antarctica. I'll give that or let me see. I hope I have. So give her a big round of applause. What she said is true because basically the El Nino is actually, I have actually that, maybe you can play that El Nino and La Nina.
Or colder than average ocean temperatures in one part of the world can influence weather around the globe. Boggles the mind, right? Here's how it works. During normal conditions, trade winds, which blow from east to west, push warm surface waters towards Asia, piling it up in the western Pacific. In some years, though, the trade winds weaken. The warm surface water moves eastward and reduces upwelling of cold water on the coast of South America. Climatologists call this El Nino. Its climate impacts show up mostly in the wintertime over North America. The warmer ocean fuels an intensification and southward shift of the jet stream. This brings flooding to the southern United States and warmer, drier conditions over parts of the Pacific Northwest, northern U.S., and Canada. But eventually, those trade winds pick up again and sometimes become even stronger than normal. When that happens, they blow the warm water back into the western Pacific and restart the upwelling of cool water towards the surface in the eastern Pacific. These strong trade winds are a signature of what is called La Nina, unusually cold conditions in the tropical Pacific that displace the jet stream northward. La Nina can lead to drought in the southern U.S. and cooler temperatures, heavy rains, and flooding in the Pacific Northwest. El Nino and La Nina together are part of a cycle that influences extreme weather and can impact food production, water supply, and even human health, not just in the U.S., but in many parts of the globe.
Just to show you, okay, I think we can handle that. So this El Nino and La Nina. El Nino is, as we said, off the Peru coast. It's actually a substantial warming. Just opposite is La Nina when we get upwell waters. When we say upwell waters in the ocean, it brings a lot of nutrients from the subsurface waters, which is important for the fisheries. Okay, so such things are very important. So the whole, it's actually oceanography is not one this one. We need physics, we need biology, we need chemistry, we need geology, plus marine archaeology now. As somebody was mentioning. So everything is actually, so luckily, I would say NIO is actually a one-stop shop from A to Z. And we only started the Antarctic programs also. Can anyone of you think which year or who led the first Indian scientific expedition to Antarctica fast? All rapid fire. I can give a clue. He was the earlier director of NIO. Want to try? Youngsters? I went in the 6th expedition way back in 86-87. I am giving another clue to you. So which year it started? Those who got the prizes can keep quiet, madam. Madam, you don't have to worry. I always discourage that everybody should not carry everything. Other people can take. Anyway, I'm not going to give you the answer. You can always find it later. So we started. NIO was actually not only marine archaeology, the Antarctic program was started. I joined NIO because there is another brilliant program. It is actually called polymetallic nodules. If the resources in the land, like say cobalt, nickel, magnesium, etc., get exhausted, we can get actually potato-sized nodules, which are lying about 3 or 4 kilometers down in the deep sea. So I was recruited by the late Dr. H.N. Siddiqui. He had a vision long back that somehow if you can extract the material from 3 or 4 kilometers down into this one, so I was recruited. He called about an all India, about 1,000 people turned up, out of which he filtered, and we had actually 200 people. Further, he filtered, we have about 40 or 50 people. Then we had a 6 months rigorous training at NIO and 1 month actually at Ocean Engineering Center, IIT Chennai. After that, some of the people left NIO because, as I said, going into ships is actually not everybody's cup of tea. Going to ship is really tough. One is actually that I said no, all degrees of motion. Second is actually food. Actually, Dr. Siddiqui prevented a lot of people getting married. He asked them to postpone because you have to go on actually ships regularly. And we were just young people, just joined NIO. So he said that can go first. You go to the ship, collect the data, and come back. So we collected the data almost, and we could identify 150 square kilometers, 150,000 square kilometers of land, out of which 75,000 was actually given to the UN, and 75,000 square kilometers we got it under the UN, where we can do all the mining, etc. And it's not easy to mine from about 3 or 4 kilometers. Forget about going because it will affect the whole ecosystem. And it is actually done by NIOT, National Institute of Ocean Technology. Anyway, I won't go into that. I have another simple question. Now we are talking about weather and climate. As I mentioned, weather and climate is purely dependent upon the oceans. Can any one of you tell me the main difference between weather and climate? Anybody wants to answer? They can raise their hand. Main difference between... You can keep quiet, madam.
Yeah, I just raised that.
No. So, anybody can... Main difference between weather and climate. You can try. Anybody can try.
If nobody, then
No, there are a lot of people, right? Yeah.
Climate is a long term.
Yeah.
This is a short one.
Very good. Come, sir. Very good. I think I was MD. Yeah. So what you said is true.
Would it be a nicer day for a hike? I don't know what you're bringing all that stuff for. Hey, you never know when the weather's gonna change. Gotta be prepared. RJ, it's like the sunniest day so far this summer. No way it's gonna rain. Right now it's sunny, but I'm telling you, weather is the condition of the outside air or atmosphere at a particular time and place. It changes quickly. Ever hear of reading the elements? I think so. Well, it means the elements of weather. Blood temperature, air pressure, humidity, wind, clouds and fog, and precipitation like rain, snow, and hail. Those are all elements of weather. RJ, you really don't think the weather's gonna change right now? Oh yeah? I'm willing to bet you that 2 elements of weather are about to change. I got this hill. Take that bet. What's gonna change in 5 minutes? Temperature and air pressure. Even though it's sunny, the temperature of the air can still change. As we hike up the hill, it's going to get cooler because we'll be at a higher altitude or elevation. The higher we go, the cooler the air is and the higher the air pressure. How much cooler can it get? Well, this hill isn't very high, so it won't get much colder. But if we were hiking something like Mount Everest, we'd be talking about seriously freezing temperatures. Whoa! So the higher we climb, the colder the air temperature? Yep. As we climb, it's going to get cozier too. Cool air is heavier than warm air, and it sinks. As it sinks, it gets warmer. Warm air rises back up again. When air sinks and rises like that, it causes winds. The higher we go, the cooler and heavier the air is, and the faster it sinks. And the faster air sinks, the faster the wind blows. You got it. There. So it gets a little cold and my leg gets messed up. I can handle it. Okay. Then what if it rains? Rain. Climate is real nice today. So, climate has to do with the usual kind of weather of a certain place over time, on a particular day. Check it out. There are different climate zones all over the world. The main differences between each climate zone are precipitation and temperature. And those two things make the plant and animal life of each climate different. Climate is the overall weather pattern of those two elements in a certain area over time. So weather changes day to day, but climate has to do with the big picture. The weather today is picture perfect. It is a warm, sunny day. This heat means more moisture is being evaporated into the warm air. As that warm air rises higher, it cools, and that moisture turns back into droplets of water. When that happens, clouds form. Cloud can't hurt us. They're big, fluffy puffs of air. They're big, fluffy puffs of cold air, ready to burst with rain. You seem to know a lot about the weather today, RJ. Did you watch the weather on the news or something? I always check the weather. The weather guy is called a meteorologist, and his job is really important. Meteorologists study weather patterns to try to predict future weather. Who needs a meteorologist when I have you? I think I felt a drop. Didn't I? Come on, you have to be kidding me. What did I tell you? You told me, all right. Weather describes the condition of the outside air of a place at a certain time. And at this certain time, it's raining. So like you said, many factors affect changes in weather. Weather changes every day, and climate describes the weather of a place over time. Climate zones explain weather patterns and animal life of particular areas. I think we should move to a climate where it never rains. Oh, come on. A little rain never hurt anybody. Lucky for you, I brought an extra raincoat. Thanks. I guess we can still hike thanks to all your rain gear. How am I supposed to do this? Waterfall?
A member of India's first scientific expedition to Antarctica, Dr. A. H. Palulekar was called upon to lead the 6th Indian expedition to Antarctica, a member of many oceanographic crews. He is at present head of the Biological Oceanography Division at the NIO. Dr. Vinod Tarvalkar was the station commander of the 3rd Wintering Field at India's permanent station in Antarctica. Dr. Tarvalkar specializes in seaweeds and mangrove research. Chemical oceanographer S.P. Pondekar specializes in Antarctic water nutrient chemistry and pollution research. A member of India's 4th Antarctic expedition, His field of specialization is unique research and field biomass estimates. Dr. Ramesh Kumar is a physical oceanographer, his special interest being air-sea interaction. A biological oceanographer, today Alcoy's area of interest is marine food chain studies. The ice-strengthened ship MV Tuleland is getting loaded with provisions, material and equipment and is almost ready for her long and tiring journey to icy cold Antarctica. The brown ship with black hull, white superstructure belonging to Broströms, Sweden, also ferried the 5th expedition to Antarctica. Powered by turbocharged engines, this ship is equipped with 2 radars and with anti-collision systems. stress on all expeditions has been to encourage the participation of young sons to face the challenge and hardships of a long and hazardous journey, besides working under a hostile environment. This demands a great spirit of adventure and the utmost of one's physical and mental ability. On 26 November 1986, at 1700 hours, the MV Tuleland began its long and tiring journey to Antarctica after a warm send-off. Spirits are high on board. On 30th November 1986, MV Tuleland crosses the equator. Those touring the seas for the first time take part in a mock ritual and are cleansed of all the land-based bacteria and dirt. The MV Tuleland anchors at Port Louis, Mauritius, a beautiful island country in the Indian Ocean. The oceans around Antarctica provide an almost uninterrupted corridor for circumpolar westerly winds which blow around the mid-latitudes. These latitudes earned the nicknames of the Roaring Forties and Furious Fifties in the 19th century when sailing ships used the winds for a fast passage around the Earth. Ships approaching Antarctica must pass through the Roaring Forties and Furious Fifties, regions of strong westerly winds that sweep almost unhindered right round here.
You can stop.
Antarctica is off.
So if you watch the movie, when you go into the oceans, there's a thing called Roaring Forties and then Furious Fifties. My next question is Dash 60s. Can you fill that blank? Those who got the prizes can keep quiet, others can answer. Dash 60s, fast, all are rapid fire. Either called Roaring Forties, around 40 degrees south. It's actually the winds are very high. It's actually called Roaring Forties. Then 50 degrees south, that's a thing called furious 50s. Same way, around 60 degrees south, there is a thing. So dash 60s, like roaring 40s, furious 50s, dash 60s. I wanted the first dash. Huh? No. Anybody wants to try? Anyway, I'm not going to feed you the answers, but to find it yourself. So very simple and straightforward. Forget that. Now, you might have heard about icebergs. English, there's a saying called tip of an iceberg. What do you mean by tip of an iceberg? Fast. What do you mean by tip of an iceberg?
180 is above.
You already got a prize, no sir? No. Oh, okay.
180 is above the sea
Yeah,
level.
that was the answer. Come sir, come.
780 is below.
I have a whale.
Oh.
Actually, this type of whale photograph I have taken on, there's a what we call actually World Oceans Day. So during a World Oceans Day, they had actually a photographic competition. Not this, a lot of whales were actually, I could get actually a nice picture. So when I went to Antarctica, whales. So that's a spotting of the whales. That got actually a runners-up prize. Now my next question is, which day is celebrated as actually the World Oceans Day? Fast, all are rapid fire. I can give you another clue. It is in the month of June. June mahina mein hai. People can try fast. You won't get
23.
no.
She said it.
Huh? You have come very close. Huh? Who said it?
Because wildlife world
Come.
environment is 5th.
You come, sir. You come. And I am also holding a Republic Day flag also in Antarctica.
Do you have extra copies with you?
I made no. Every day I am going and giving a talk in the schools, madam. I make. Most welcome. I used to give Antarctica rocks. I had given 500 plus talks only on Antarctica all over India. From Miranda House in New Delhi to Women's College in Trivandrum. 500 talks only on Antarctica. And other talks also I give. Don't worry. I keep enough. Replenish. I used to give Antarctica rocks, penguin feathers, photographs I started recently. All crazy things we do. And I also give Indian scientist books also. The first question is actually, can anyone of you tell me name of 5 Indian scientists? Everything is only Einstein and Edison. You have n number of scientists. Anyway, I'm not asking. Can anyone of you tell me 5 women Indian scientists? Still tougher. 5 Indian women scientists. Not you. You are excluded. No. If nobody answers, I'll come back to you. आप 3 आंसर दीजिए instead of 5 I will give you a chance. Yeah. Otherwise I will chance दूंगा. 3 Indian women scientists का नाम बताइए. I will give you. I can give. That is it. Now I want Indian scientist madam. Marie Curie. Okay, Kamala Soni is correct. और 2 बताओ. I can give a clue. She is called the missile woman of India.
Tessie Thomas.
Yeah. Sir, you have to keep quiet.
Yes.
Or else I will take the prize and give it to her.
Yes.
Please. Okay.
So see, as she correctly mentioned, Tessie Thomas. But we have n number of scientists. That's what no. We don't know about Indian scientists. Forget about it. We talk about so many things. Ajit Vartak sir knows. We have a lot of geologists. I also keep like this and show it to them the Indian scientists, scientific institutions, वगैरह. So people should know. Just across actually we have IMD, India Meteorological Department, IIT, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. Opposite we have actually NCL. We had actually a director of NCL called, who is again a governor, Mashelkar. So he used to tell, publish or perish. So I fully endorse that because we are not like Shah Rukh Khan or Amitabh Bachchan or Abhishek Bachchan. We are known. We are only known through our publications. Then he added one more P, patent, publish or perish. It puts a lot of pressure on the individuals to write a paper in a good. Anyway, I should not go into science. Like women's scientist photo only. I have a small video on that called Miss Annamani. Same thing. Annamani is actually just across. She was actually at IITM and IMD. So this postal covers I made it for Annamani as well as for Anandakrishnan and Prashad. Let's say just go. You can close this.
Anna Monagil Mani was born on 23rd August 1918 in Travancore, Kerala. She initially wanted to pursue medicine but later decided to take physics and enrolled in the honours program in physics at the Presidency College in Madras. She graduated with a BSc honours degree in physics and chemistry. In 1940, Anna Mani obtained a scholarship to do research in physics at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, under the supervision of Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. In Dr. Raman's laboratory, Annamani worked on the spectroscopy of diamonds and rubies. The application of fluorescent spectroscopy is a powerful and effective tool to study the physical and chemical behavior of macromolecules. Annamani recorded and analyzed fluorescence absorption and Raman spectra, including the temperature dependence and polarization effects of over 30 different diamonds. Between 1942 and 1945, she published 5 papers on luminescence of diamonds and rubies. In August 1945, she submitted her PhD dissertation at Madras University. Though her dissertation involved ample research work, she was refused a PhD as she did not have a master's degree. Undeterred, Annamani then moved to Britain to study physics on a government scholarship for an internship in the Imperial College London. Although her preference was to pursue research in physics, she ended up specializing in meteorological instrumentation as it was the only scholarship available to her at that time. But it began a lifelong passion and contributed in enriching India's meteorological mission. Annamani returned to India in 1948 and joined the Indian Meteorological Department at Pune as a scientist and in charge of construction of radiation instrumentation. At IMD, she standardized the drawings of about 100 weather-related instruments for production and also set up monitoring stations across the country to monitor solar radiations to help India harness solar energy. In 1960, Mani continued her work on measuring atmospheric ozone. This was before the world even understood the ozone layer's functions. She designed an instrument called ozone sonde to measure atmospheric ozone. Annamani also set up a meteorological observatory at ISRO's Thumba rocket launching facility in Kerala. Her work on measuring wind speeds in over 700 locations across the country also laid the foundation for India's wind energy dream. Annamani was a remarkable meteorologist and physicist who retired as the Deputy Director General of the Indian Meteorological Department in 1976. She subsequently returned to the Raman Research Institute in Bangalore as a visiting professor for the next 3 years. This was the very place she had begun her research career in 1940 as a young pioneering science researcher. Annamani passed away on August 16, 2001 in Kerala.
I have a couple of questions based on this video only. Which year did Annamani talk about ozone? Those who got the prizes can keep quiet. That others thing. Fast, fast.
1968.
Not 68. Come, 60, 60. Come. Come, does not matter. Iceberg. The iceberg. And she designed an instrument to measure ozone. Fast. Anybody wants to try? Come. Big picture for you. She talked about ozone in 1960s, 65 years back. And people all talk about actually greenhouse gases and an instrument. So Indian science was always good. Don't think that Indian science came overnight or whatever, it has been good, but promoted. And unfortunately, anyway, I don't want to delve into too much of that. So, can anyone of you tell me 5 greenhouse gases? Fast, rapid fire. Who wants to answer here? Yeah. Okay, only carbon dioxide is good enough. Carbon monoxide, okay. One more you tell, I'll give you a prize. SO2. Not SO2. Anyway, come. Anyway, I don't mind giving you all. I'll give him another penguin. You was taken by me. By the way, can anyone of you tell me 5 different species of penguin? Or 5 different species of whales? Fast. Everything is rapid fire. Those who got the prizes can keep quiet. 5. बच्चे लोग you can tell. One, एक से क्या फायदा? Come, you get a prize. So many other. But I'm giving him seal. I don't know whether I have a whale or what or thing. Can you introduce me 5 species of penguins? Fast. Tell. At least two or three you can tell. Yeah. Okay, come. Adelaide penguin. Come, anyway, does not matter. Yeah. Emperor. Okay. Yeah, you can go and say. Thanks to this climate change or global warming, 60 colonies of emperor penguin vanished in 5 years, from 2018 to 2022. They became extinct. Now, coming back to the effect of actually global warming or climate change on the oceans. When the sea surface temperature rises, how many have heard about coral islands and such things? All of you might have heard, no?
Yes.
So the coral islands start bleaching or disappearing. And it affects the whole flora and fauna in that surroundings, like say ornamental fishes, etc. That is one. And when SSTs are increasing, there's actually a tremendous effect on the ocean, sea levels, you name everything. Everything gets affected. That is one. And it affects also your cyclones, monsoons, blah blah. So the global or the climate change. In fact, everybody says plant a tree. More than the tree, oceans give the maximum amount of oxygen into the atmosphere. 50% of the oxygen goes into the atmosphere, comes from the ocean. And it's a major sink also for carbon dioxide. So it's a major sink for carbon dioxide as well as a major this one for, no doubt, the trees are there, but then oceans. So there are so many things which we can think of. Okay. Now, I have a small model which is made actually on NIO. Purely, we deal with almost, as I said, one-stop shop. I'll show a small clip of that. I don't want to go into the details. Maybe another time we'll just put actually, just Sagar can put.
Institute of Oceanography, the largest and oldest institute dedicated to ocean research in this part of the world, attracts visitors, particularly students, come to learn about oceanography. A short visit, however, can only provide a glimpse of the field. A pocketbook, Sagar, was compiled to enable the visitor to pursue the fascinating world of the oceans even after the visit. Sagar provides an overview of the oceans, their formation, characteristics, and the dynamics that determine their evolution. It also contains information on how the interested reader can pursue these topics further through books and websites. This film is based on the material covered in Sagar. The topics covered in the film are chemistry of the oceans, earth beneath the sea, life in the oceans, restless ocean, oceans and climate. We welcome you to view this film. You can also download for your use any or all of its parts from our website www.nio.org. The Earth is called the blue planet because it looks blue when seen from space. The blue color is due to water that covers 71% of the surface of the Earth. A watery planet holds about 10 trillion tons of water. Water evaporates from the oceans as water vapor, which later in the atmosphere condenses to fall as rain. Every year, 420 billion tons of water circulate in this cycle. Water precipitated on land finally returns to the ocean via streams of rivers and carries weathered and eroded material to the oceans via estuaries. About 100 river estuarine channels of varying sizes and shapes occur along the coast of India. An estuary is a channel which has the sea at one end and a river at the other. Each estuary receives its fresh water from drainage channels of a river basin. Within an estuary, the mixing of river water and sea water takes place due to tidal movement of water, and seawater is appreciably diluted. A complete salinity range from 0 to 35 ppt is seen from the head to the mouth of an estuary. Estuaries are usually biologically very highly productive zones. Estuaries also act as a filter for some dissolved constituents in river water. These precipitate in the zone where river water meets sea water. More important is the trapping of suspended mud and sand carried by rivers, which around the estuarine mouth leads to delta formation. Sundarbans are the largest delta in the world, formed by the combined Ganges and Brahmaputra river systems. Most of India's major estuaries occur on the east coast. Typical examples of the west coast estuaries are the Mandovi and the Suari estuaries, located to the north and the south of the main campus of the National Institute of Oceanography at Donapaula, Goa. The banks of estuarine channels form a favored location for human settlements, which use the estuaries for fishing and commerce, and nowadays also dumping civic and industrial waste. Many estuaries are locations of some of the major seaports. Water falling on land as rain is carried back to oceans through streams of rivers. Each year, 2.6 billion tons of material is transported to the ocean in dissolved form. Most elements in seawater come from chemical weathering of minerals in the Earth's crust, and the other elements come from the atmosphere. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, sulfur and boron probably originated from organic gases and then dissolved in rain waters. Atmospheric gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide enter and dissolve in the seawater at the surface. There are 11 major elements dissolved in seawater in amounts greater than 1 milligram per liter. Sodium, chloride, magnesium, potassium, calcium, strontium, silicate, bicarbonate, sulfate, bromide, borates, and fluoride. These are called the major elements, which determines the salinity of seawater. The ratio with salinity or with each other are nearly constant. Therefore, they are also known as conservative elements. Common salt is the principal ingredient of seawater that makes it salty. Most of the elements of the periodic table are present in seawater. They are called minor and trace elements. The red color gradations indicate relative abundance of elements in seawater. Among minor elements, there are micronutrient elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, silicon, and iron, which are essential for plant growth and the food production in the ocean. Their abundance is controlled by biogeochemical processes of utilization and regeneration. Of other elements, even dissolved gold is found in water of all oceans. Although present in very small concentrations, there is 5.6 million tons of gold in all the Earth's oceans. In spite of all the dissolved materials that is transported by rivers, the sea does not get saltier. That is, the concentration of components in seawater remains unchanged. The Earth was formed 4.6 billion years ago from the nebular cloud of gas and dust. The oceans were formed about 4 billion years ago, when the Earth cooled enough for the water vapors to become liquid and fall as rain. We believe that the oceans reached their present level of saltiness quite rapidly in the early history of the Earth, and since then they maintained the same salt content. To maintain the constant composition, it is necessary that dissolved ions are removed at the same rate as they are added. In hot, dry climates, where the sea is shallow and enclosed, solid deposits of salts, such as rock salt and gypsum, are formed. When the concentration of salt becomes too great, that salt forms a solid precipitate. For example, limestone and phosphorite deposits are found in the oceans. Sea salt and mineral deposits in seas are commercially exploited to meet our requirements. Some organisms remove ions by scavenging them from seawater. Animals like corals and bivalves make shells, and some oysters make pearls using calcium carbonate. Sea squids, tunicates, oysters, lobsters, and shellfish concentrate in their body tissues the elements vanadium, niobium, zinc, copper, mercury, respectively.
We visit Goa in this beach. Not of every state has actually beautiful beaches. Goa has some of the best beaches in the world, I would say. Because I am from Goa. Okay. So basically, anyway,
So how do we decide, or how do they say that either pre-monsoon showers?
Okay, excellent. That's a good question. Come. First, let me give you a prize. This is actually one of the gentlemen who is called the father of Indian remote sensing. Excellent question. That is my cup of tea. Monsoon is my cup of tea. I have been working the last 42 years on monsoons and keep on writing regularly on Times of India, not here, Goa edition. Sit. Thank you. See, pre-monsoon showers are what we call sporadic and highly localized. Okay? Very, I say not continuously or whatever. In fact, that one gentleman, I told another Krishnan now, he has been working on this for ages. I will call him actually a monsoon man or whatever. We had another guy called Dr. P.V. Joseph. I also work, one of my PhD students actually on monsoon or air center. Sporadic is actually just not at all decided, maybe, and localized also. So that is one. And another question, what is actually, there should be continuous process. During the monsoon, when the monsoon onset takes place, it will be a continuous rain. So this year, for example, and for the onset of monsoon, the gateway is actually Kerala. So my professor, another Krishnan, made actually information about the onset of monsoon over Kerala. Previously, people were more worried about the rainfall only. Monsoon onset is not that. Basically, it is to do with wind. It is westerly winds or southwesterly winds from surface up to 4.2 kilometers above mean sea level. Strong westerlies of 6 meters per second. Monsoon is basically wind, not the rainfall. Rainfall is needed, wind is needed, and strong convection. Yeah. So basically, these three things are needed. Okay. So unless these things are actually done, we can't call it actually monsoon onset over Kerala and the monsoon progress also. Come. I'll give you a prize first.
And are accordingly cyclones named?
Yeah, okay. That also an answer. Maybe I'll give a nice penguin to you. Cyclone was actually another of my PhD students, this one. Excellent question. So first let me answer about the cyclones. I will give you a chance, don't worry. I'm here. Maybe up to 9 o'clock I can stand here. If the organizers agree, I don't have a problem. So let me first come to our first question as well. Cyclones. They were actually named after good old days. They said that mostly women. They said cyclones are unpredictable as women. But then women people protested. So then they started putting like men's name also. They said men are equally unpredictable. They started putting Andrew, this, that and whatever. Basically now, the Indian Ocean rim, all the countries in the Indian Ocean rim, they actually have. See, for example, good old days, you say Nargis, Laila, Ayla, all these things are actually there for cyclones.
How are they
Formed.
classified or named?
Okay. See, basically, we have actually different methods of actually formation of cyclones. First, it starts as a low pressure. Low pressure. When the pressure is low, so we call it actually one isobar or whatever. We have actually low pressure, then we have a depression, then we have a deep depression, then we have a cyclone storm, severe cyclone storm, very severe. And names, as you said, all these 12 countries or whatever in the Indian Ocean rim can give their names. For example, Pakistan can give, Afghanistan can give, Sri Lanka can give, Bangladesh can give, India can give, Maldives can give.
Who decides that?
No, the whole Indian Ocean rim,
Okay.
and it is given actually the World Meteorological Organization. So it is told well in advance. And there is actually another thing what we call cyclogenesis parameters. How does the cyclone form? So one is actually the sea surface temperature is important. Then I should not go into too much of physics. There is actually low level vorticity, vertical should be minimum, mid troposphere humidity. Cyclone is a huge thing. 300 or 400 kilometers in radius, 10 to 15 kilometers in height, and it needs to be so much to survive. Once it is land, gone.
How is it measured?
Oh, measured is basically you can. Excellent question. I don't want to give more prizes. No. See, the thing is actually, good old days, you cannot go into a cyclone by using a ship or even by aircraft. These things, good old days, people knew a cyclone after it hit a coast. Like we had actually, people used to go Paradip cyclone or a Machilipatnam cyclone or maybe Mumbai cyclone or actually Gujarat cyclone after it hit the coast. Nobody in their good senses will go either to a site of a cyclone. There's a small area called eye of a cyclone. So 10 to 15 kilometers is very calm. But then there's a wind pan, storm. And there is another thing what we call storm surge. Huge waves come and hit the coast. So anyway, I should stop here. I'll keep on talking the whole day. Yeah, I'll give, don't worry.
Global warming we are talking about.
Yeah.
And Earth's temperature is increasing. But I feel that Earth's nature is to cool down. So is that so? Like
Earth's nature, see, basically, we have actually particulate matter. Come, I will give another prize to you. Good question. Director of NIO, Dr. N.K. Panikya. I didn't put a stamp. Can put a stamp and take cancellation. You can put what was stamp in there. So, why are cyclones form? See, come, first let me give you a prize. I think I should give a good prize to this young boy. You see. See, maximum number of cyclone form actually in the Pacific Ocean, South China Sea, okay, West Pacific. I should not go into answering all your questions, but I have hardly any time left. I will take more questions. Ma'am, I will take. See, what you said is true. In fact, we have doing a lot of things like that, not only about microplastics. Another thing is oil spill in the ocean. People keep on dumping things over the ocean. Okay, so whatever they want, they do. So, as you said, no, ganda nahi kiya. People boil it in the beaches, drink beer, water bottle. ये सब कुछ इधर कहाँ जाएगा? Ocean में ही जाएगा.
Here, educated people, they don't have the.
No, I will say the educator of this one. Anyway, ma'am, come. आपको एक पेंगिन भी दे दूँ.
the pressure that brings the wind.
Basically, pressure, high pressure and low pressure. Winds flow from high pressure to low pressure area, madam. Okay.
Why is the ocean exploration not even 5% of the Earth and space exploration?
Okay, that's exactly the fantastic question. In fact, going to the oceans is very, very difficult. Okay, to start with. Each day in an ocean, ship costs 15 lakh rupees.
For finance and technical problems.
Finance, and as I said, who will go to the oceans?
Okay.
As I said, starting from food, degrees of motion. Good old days, we used to get 3 rupees for doing work in the oceans. Okay. And it was tough. I had gone in there, there's a ship called Sagar Kanya. It's maiden voyage from Goa to Mombasa, Kenya. I went. Getting 3 rupees is nothing. And we were going against the wind and the current. Because we are going from Goa, because the winds are actually opposite, currents are opposite. So we are going against the wind and the current. So we were thrown actually in the air, even when you are in the.
So putting your life in danger actually.
One is life, a lot of things. So everything happens. And as you said, money.
Yeah.
But now, in fact, as I correctly said, we didn't have actually things which measures the things at various levels, subsurface. Mostly we measure this actually on the surface. Now using satellites or whatever. Anyway, I do not go too much into the. It will be a never-ending thing.
No, but I heard it's lagging behind very much.
Very true.
Yeah.
Give him a big round of applause. Excellent. Please come. Your next chance is to come. Yes, please
The
come.
question is like every year,
Yeah.
we are very much fond of waiting when the rain or the monsoon is going to hit Kerala.
Yeah.
But nobody is, I think, aware when it is going out of India.
Oh.
That is we know that it comes from Kerala, but we don't know from where.
Okay. Yeah, basically it's a fantastic question. What we call withdrawal phase of the monsoon.
Right, withdrawal.
Recently the IITM along with the IMD has actually started. Actually, Bharat forecasting system. IMD has been doing for n number of ages. Recently, when Dr. Krishnan was there, now currently Dr. Surichandra Rao is there, people have been doing enough work, including my professor Ananda Krishnan. So people are doing. And we call it the withdrawal phase. Once it starts withdrawing, by 15th of September it starts withdrawing. And then we have actually retreating monsoon, or we call it northeast monsoon. But this northeast monsoon is only for Tamil Nadu and for this one. Okay, that area. Okay. And so that is October, November, December. Southwest monsoon is from June to September. Okay. Anyway, I won't go into details, sir, because
I'll find out more.
Yeah. I had actually flown by actually hot air balloon from Bristol to Bath. This is a picture. Before the drones came, I took a picture from my hot air balloon. This is actually a picture of actually Bristol from hot air balloon. Yeah.
So the place what you can say is Tamil Nadu area that for setting of the
no. October, November, December you get maximum rainfall for Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
And maybe a few parts of actually Andhra and southern part of Kerala. That is October, November, December. It starts withdrawing from the northwest India from 15th September onwards. Okay. And by 15th October everything will be over. As far as southwest monsoon is concerned, the northeast monsoon usually hits Tamil Nadu coast by October 20th. Okay. Now.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the Drake's Passage.
Oh, fantastic question.
Antarctic.
Yeah. See, good old days we used to, luckily we didn't have to cross that Drake's Passage is actually tough. In fact, going to Antarctica, we are really lucky. You should think about Scott, Shackleton and all this. You should read their books, like say Endurance or you name anything. So, Drake's Passage is one of this ones. First,
how was your experience?
We didn't go to Drake's Passage. We went straight away.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't have actually a map of that or whatever. So we just went directly. So we didn't have to. Very tough.
Very tough.
Penguin. I have lots of penguins. And first, let me give you. Yeah, please come.
Okay, so I have two questions.
Yeah, please ask.
Okay, first one is like, is there any data set which is not legacy data set but a near real-time data set for studying wave action?
Okay.
Something like GIS data set. And second question is something about Bermuda Triangle. I know it is based upon the magnetic field and that, but what is the role of ocean into all that?
Okay, so first let me answer that. There are a lot of wave data sets. In fact, people also do a lot of modeling. We have actually waves buoy which are actually put all along the coastal areas. Okay, so where we have actually, we call it a mood buoy or a wave rider buoy. Okay, so all along the Indian coast, we have actually on 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers, we put actually various wave rider buoys. Okay, that I can get. Now coming back to your Bermuda Triangle, I would say that basically more of actually myth for this one. There's nothing like that. See, things can happen anywhere. It's actually bad weather. Anyway, first let me give a prize to you. I'll give actually prize of actually Dr. S.S. Kasim. He was the first Indian scientist. I have not put a stamp. Take whatever stamp you like and take it. Okay. Those who have not asked, I will give the chance because yes.
Okay. So I just
no problem.
Okay. It's a bit of extension to what you asked. It is like the pressure belts and the intensity on the Bay of Bengal side as compared to the Arabian Sea. As per in geopolitics, they say that the warm waters of the Arabian Sea. So, what is the intensity or what is the exact differentiation
of Arabian Sea warming or the
cyclones? The intensity.
See, good old days we had the maximum number of cyclones forming in the Bay of Bengal as compared to the Arabian Sea. Because if you look at it, Bay of Bengal is actually landlocked. And one of the conditions for the cyclones forming is actually temperatures more than 26 degrees Celsius or 26.5. But in the recent years, it has shifted. We have more number of cyclones forming in the Arabian Sea as compared to Bay of Bengal. Recent years, recent decades. So this actually, see, it keeps on changing. But either way, the Indian Ocean is one of the warmest oceans anywhere in the world. Good old days, Pacific Ocean was formed. Now the Indian Ocean, come. I wanted to give you something. Let me see. Let me see. This come.
For the question to be the question on the Nido, El Nido.
Yeah. Anyway, I have shown this one. Oh, sorry, maybe I did that. No problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is available later on. Thank you. Those who have not asked questions,
I'm sorry for this.
Please. बच्चे लोग पूछेंगे. No questions? Thank you. You can also ask. Yeah. Come. It has lots of impact, especially the tidal phenomena, especially in the areas. I don't know whether you have heard about Tisri or Mulus. Tisri we call actually in Konkani or what? Shellfish or what? There is a lot of on that. And so many things. I don't want to go into that. I'm not a marine biologist. I'm a hardcore weatherman. I've been working for 42 years on monsoon, cyclones, climate change. But it affects the whole of marine biology. Another thing it affects is actually intrusion of salt waters into agriculture fields. It affects the whole agriculture of this world. Naturally weather. Forget about weather. Erosion happens. Intrusion happens. It affects the marine biology. Everything it changes, especially the beaches.
What was your experience when
Okay. From the
you're in the deep ocean?
Basically, deep ocean is actually much more cooler or calm. Only to coastal areas because of the waves. Anyway, let me see. I'll get some. What did I give you? Penguin or?
No.
I will give actually at the University of Goa.
Wow. You don't give me any prize, but I want to ask questions.
No, I'll give a chance. Yeah, I want this boy. Come. You are there. Come. I want you here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm here only.
Answer.
Go. Come here. Don't worry.
So it was how deep within do you go into Antarctica?
Oh, how deep?
I mean, how much did you explore Antarctica?
Okay, we didn't explore much. Basically, we went as a part of summer expedition. We went only 4 months. So before going to Antarctica, we had actually 2 weeks training in a place called high altitude warfare called HOS. It is actually in Sonamarg and Gulmarg. Walking on ice is not like walking on land. Totally different. So 2 days we actually stayed in a place called Machoi Glacier. So, and you have to learn icecraft and rockcraft. And going on to Antarctica is actually a totally different cup of tea. You can get a frostbite. You can become blind. The race, the albedo is so. Going to Antarctica is actually totally different. So this 2 weeks training is really tough. You have to walk actually the mountain. They call it Happy Mountain Valley or whatever. I said I'm not happy. In Kashmir. On the top only they give chai with a lot of salt, iodine. They say iodine is less, so they give salt, put chai. So that 2 weeks training, and then we had actually tested all India Institute of Medical Sciences. So going in Antarctica is totally different. Anyway, if I answer, I will tell the whole story of Antarctica. Let me keep my nice place.
Does it even affect cycles?
Yes, I was about to come to that.
Yeah.
Let me come. I'll just answer.
It affects a lot.
It affects a lot. I want to give a nice, let me see. I want to give actually a cover where I'm holding actually, yeah. This is me holding actually a flag during the recording day. I hope you also go to Antarctica. By the way, if anybody wants to go to Antarctica, it's not tough now. You have only to have 6 lakh rupees in your pocket.
Oh.
Just fly from here to Chile or Argentina. From there, they will take you by their aircraft. They have their own research stations. Okay? In fact, I will tell you another story. I should not tell 2 minute stories. I have already crossed my time. Lot of pregnant Argentinian women went to Antarctica, gave birth so that they can become native citizens of Antarctica. People do all sorts of crazy things. Good old days, everybody wants to have their share of actually Antarctica. Only US and Russia said, USSR said, nothing doing. They had a thing called Antarctica Treaty. Okay, so now Antarctica does not belong to anybody. Everybody can go and do research there and come back. And you cannot put actually a single drop of actually waste over there. All the waste, including our human waste, they have to bring back. Nothing can put over there in Antarctica. It's like going into the Himalayas or maybe Mount Everest, etc. Antarctica tourism. What she is asking exactly that, whether the carbon footprint. People in Chile and Argentina are already doing it. Can you tell people in Argentina or Chile not to do that? They say the major, for example, Goa They outsell. We have actually ad called Go Goa 365 days. We sell rainfall, we sell everything. Now people, I cannot tell Chile people or Argentinian people not to sell tourism. That's their major revenue. This was quantity maker. Good question. If you tell me how Aurora is formed, I'll give still a better price. Think. How are Aurora formed? It's actually how Aurora is formed actually is in the ionosphere. Solar wind. Anyway, I don't want to go so much into that. Anyway, that must be the price.
Yeah, actually, enough questions about.
Come. Actually, nice this one. Yeah, basically there is actually a small video which was showing how it is collected. We have actually a scientist called Dr. Mahua Saha. She looks at the microplastics over in the ocean and has been studying for maybe I should say more than a decade. Microplastics are there almost every sea creature, whether the fish or that. It was actually very nicely shown in that small video. Okay, you have to cut that fish and see there is a microplastic. And not only microplastics, lot of chemical things are also going. Zinc, lead, arsenic, everything goes into the fish. So the fish which we eat, we have to be very careful. Not only microplastics. Excellent question. Yeah. I will allow only desalination. If you are in the island stations, there's actually technology which is developed by National Institute of Ocean Technology, NIOT. So ocean water can be converted and you will get a byproduct that's actually salt. So they use a desalination around the islands because mostly they get actually through the rainfall. It's actually fresh water. But in addition to that, actually we use the desalination plant, especially in maybe Lakshadweep group of islands or maybe Andaman group. Come sir. Thank you.
It must be better. Huge cost for it.
Yeah. But in this one, this is actually a cover which I very much like. It's on Mario Miranda. Thank you. It's actually very. In fact, I'm trying to make a stamp or a picture postcard on Mario Miranda. He was in Mumbai for a long time. But it's a Goenka. He is actually a special picture postcard of actually Mario Miranda. Cartoonist. One of the most famous cartoonists maybe India has ever produced. He was in Mumbai for a long time.
So, as we are talking about oceans, we cannot forget to ask about tsunamis.
Tsunami.
Just I want to ask, Agastya Muni, we always talk. Was it really a tsunami?
You're asking me $1 million question. Okay.
One thing, how he would have stopped, controlled the tsunami?
See, basically, most of the tsunamis are actually caused by
tectonic.
Or maybe earthquakes which are forming in the ground. Yeah. And predicting tsunami is actually next to impossible. But INCOIS, Indian National Ocean Science Center in Hyderabad, they have actually put deep pressure system or pressure sensor system in the oceans and then try to identify. And they could do it reasonably well. We at NIO had actually published a paper on tsunami way back. I think it's in December it formed now. I think 2004 or whatever, that particular year. So they had actually predicted the wave refraction and so many things. Anyway, I will give a prize to you. Come, my boy. Important quote. This is written back to my colleague Saida Baba and Moidin Baba. Very important. They play a very important role in this one. Maybe I'll take the last question. Yes. I will take that from ma'am. You come. Please come. Don't worry, madam. We have to give everybody a chance.
So, which is the deepest part of the ocean?
It's actually called Mariana Trench. In the Pacific Ocean, it's as deep as 11 kilometers or 11,000 meters. From Everest can go into it. So it was actually whale. I had taken a picture of actually the whales during the World Oceans Day and I got a second prize, as I said. Okay. Now I'll stop here of clouds. Can you tell me the name of 5 clouds? Again I'll give you a prize. See, basically, just go to this one. The Pune 2025. I have actually tutorial called actually.
Cloud types.
I don't know. It will take some 4 or 5 minutes, okay, sir? We'll put that.
Clouds are an ever-changing aspect of weather. Clouds can often be a great visual indicator of certain weather patterns, and they can even act as a harbinger of upcoming weather conditions. In this brief weather tutorial, we will discuss 4 primary types of clouds, as well as some combinations or hybrids within these categories. We'll show some specific examples of each, and we'll also look at some of the weather elements associated with these different cloud types. Clouds are categorized by their structural characteristics and the height in the atmosphere at which they develop. The four main forms of clouds that we'll talk about are cirriform, cumuliform, stratoform, and nimboform. There can be different combinations or hybrids of each of these cloud types. Cirrus clouds are high-level clouds that typically form between 16,000 and about 50,000 feet above the Earth's surface. And the Latin word cirro means curl of hair. And many times cirrus clouds can mimic curls of hair due to the thin, wispy structure that they exhibit. Cirro can also be used as a prefix to describe high-level clouds. Cirrus clouds are composed of tiny ice crystals suspended in the upper parts of the troposphere, which is the layer of the atmosphere where all weather occurs. And cirrus clouds are often thought of as indirect indicators of weather patterns. Sometimes they may accompany a strong jet stream in the upper atmosphere. And cirrus clouds can also be seen preceding surface fronts by more than a day or two. Cumulus clouds might be one of the more recognizable cloud types. Cumulo is Latin for heap or pile, and cumulus clouds can often look detached or isolated from other clouds, and they'll often appear as fluffy white cotton balls or perhaps even cauliflower. These clouds are considered low-level clouds, usually forming between a few hundred to a few thousand feet above the Earth's surface. In the desert southwest and much of New Mexico, these cloud bases will often form at even higher levels than other parts of the country, due to the warm and arid conditions within the southwest. Stratiform clouds, or layer clouds, often appear as a sheet or layer of cloud that exhibits little definition or features. In other words, they will typically appear as a hazy white or gray mass. Stratus clouds are primarily thought of as low clouds, but they can also be observed in the middle to upper parts of the atmosphere as well. Mid-level stratus clouds are referred to as altostratus, and high-level stratus clouds are commonly identified as cirrostratus. Nimboform clouds are also representative of a hybrid or combination of different cloud categories. Nimbo is Latin for rain. The two common nimboform cloud types are nimbostratus and cumulonimbus. As you can probably guess, nimbostratus are layered clouds producing rain or precipitation. These clouds can extend into the middle to upper parts of the troposphere, but they are typically only seen in the lower parts since they will usually obscure any clouds above. Cumulonimbus are also a unique hybrid of cloud that extends from the lower to the upper parts of the troposphere and are otherwise known as thunderstorm clouds. We briefly mentioned cirrostratus, but another high-level cloud is cirrocumulus. These are similar to altocumulus, the difference being that altocumulus form in the mid-levels of the troposphere, while cirrocumulus clouds are in the highest part of the troposphere. Altocumulus clouds have some variations of their own. One such variation that frequents New Mexico is the altocumulus standing lenticular, sometimes simply referred to as lenticular, linnies, or even wave clouds. These clouds are common on the leeward side of topographical barriers, such as mountains, where a stable layer of air is then found above the crest or peaks of the topography. Stratocumulus clouds are another combination of two previously mentioned categories, stratus and cumulus. So we've discussed several types of clouds. We hope that you've learned something about clouds, and maybe you can scan the skies next time you step outside and identify some cloud types on your own. For more information, refer to the National Weather Service, including the Jetstream website, where you can learn more about clouds and see more cloud diagrams and imagery.
The lights also. Okay, cloud where you get the thunder and lightning. Okay. So I would like to thank Dr. Ajay Gautam, who is not here, and the organizers for giving me a platform to talk and discuss.